Hi Aquarius, welcome to your January 2019 Tarology 33 reading, and happy birthday to those of you who celebrate towards the end of January. We have a Celtic Cross spread in front of us, which is normally a 10 card spread, but you did get some extra cards that came up. Then as always at the end we read an oracle card to see if it helps tie things together with the reading. And I actually am introducing 2 new things this month, so it's a lot to get to, so let's get started with the main spread first. And in the main situation position, you have the High Priestess. So usually I'll see this as a card of usually represents a water sign, but someone who's very much in touch with their emotions, and not only just in touch with their emotions, but also has a firm grasp on them, and just has them well under control, very intuitive, and very much trust their intuition. I'm sure we've had this card before for you guys, but I always say that just to me this looks like she has her foot on the moon there, so to me that represents control over the emotions. The scroll there to me represents all the knowledge, right? So this could just be saying that this is the energy that you're going to be in right now. I sometimes see this as a Pisces card, although usually the Hangman is my main Pisces card. So some of you could be dealing with a Pisces, certainly. But to me, what this represents more than anything, especially this month, you have a lot of energy in your 12th house. And Pisces is the natural ruler of the 12th house. So, you could just be taking on that energy with all of what's going on in your 12th house of Capricorn, which is you have Pluto there, you have Saturn there, you're going to have a solar eclipse there, so obviously the sun will be there as well. So there's a lot of energy going on in that house for January, so that could be what's really bringing it up for you. And also the South Node has moved into that house where it'll be for about the next 18 months. And, the South Node traveling through a house is somewhat about getting you to let go of things that no longer serve you in life, but also sometimes it could get you back in touch with things that you lost track of, qualities that you had, but for whatever reason you've gotten away from them. So that's what I'm seeing primarily with that energy there. And that's a good energy to be in until the sun comes into your sign anyway, just a little bit more low-key, relying on your intuition, not exerting a whole lot of energy, just resting up and waiting for the sun to come back into your sign and light you up energetically in that way. In the challenge or obstacle position, we have 2 cards. We have the 10 of Pentacles, and we have the Empress. So to me, the Empress and the High Priestess are similar as far as they're very high ranking, obviously, as major arcana cards, but to me, this is more the earthly representation of feminine energy, and then this is the more spiritual representation of energy, feminine energy. So what this could really be pointing to is the fact that, maybe it's saying that you've gotten away from your intuitive side because you've been more focused on the tangible, everyday, earthly, financial, or just stability in general, focuses in your life right now. And that would make sense too, because we've had Mars moving through your 2nd house, which is related to finances. For example, this is sometimes seen as a Taurus card, which is the natural ruler of the 2nd house. So you guys could have had a high focus on finances lately with Mars moving through that house, and now coming into January, it's going to be moving into your 3rd house of Aries, and that's actually the home sign for Mars too. So, that could be all it's saying, is that you've just been so focused on finances and earthly things that you might have gotten away from your more intuitive side during that time. But once that Mars energy departs there, right when January starts, now you can end up with a lot of energy in your 12th house for the rest of that time. So that could just be lighting up that area of life for you. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 6 of Pentacles. And I think you guys had the Star card, which is your major arcana card, in the main position in your spread last month. Or it might have been in the outcome it's definitely somewhere in the spread. And I was talking about how, it makes sense how that represents Aquarius, because you guys have this innate understanding about giving back. What you take out, you put back in. So that's what this could represent. And especially if you have been working hard, you might be doing some charitable work, or, even if this isn't a straight up financial thing, it could just be helping people who aren't as well off as you. That's another quality that you guys tend to have as well. And of course, to be able to do that shows that you've achieved some level of success. So that's definitely a good sign there. But in a more general sense, this could just be saying that you're trying to restore balance in general. We also have the Justice card at the bottom of the deck, which can represent that same exact energy, basically. You could see the similarities between the two cards, even though this is Pentacles and this is the sign for Libra. You see the scales there, and there's that overall theme of balance. So, it could just be restoring balance with all the crazy energies that have been going on. And maybe that's exactly it. It's not that you're favoring one over the other. You're trying to integrate both your more intuitive side and the more earthly, get things done side as well. So that could be what's going on there. In the past position, we have two cards. We have the Seven of Wands, and we have the Emperor. So with this in the past position, well, first of all, this is the major arcana card for Aries. So some of you certainly could have been dealing with an Aries. Maybe you had some conflict with an Aries, and you had to stand your ground. Usually, to me, this card does represent having some kind of conflict, but usually having the upper hand at least. You could see the visual for that there, right? Like they're outnumbered, but they have the higher ground, so that gives them an advantage that they wouldn't have had otherwise if they were on the same level as those people. And given that Aries is ruled by Mars, and this is in the past position, this could just be talking about the general energies that you guys were dealing with in 2018, because Mars spent almost half the year in your sign. It was moving forward in your sign, then went retrograde, then it went back forward again. So it spent a lot more time in your sign than it normally would. Usually it'd be about 45 days or so on the sign, and like I said, it was closer to 6 months, all things told, really. So you had that brief break when it went into Capricorn while it was retrograde, then it went right back. And then you guys had an eclipse in, I think it was July, that was right with that Mars. So that Mars energy could have really been a theme for you guys in this past year, and having to stand your ground in some way. So that could be what that's pointing to there. And like I said, for others of you, it could definitely be an actual Aries that you might have had conflict with. Since Aries rules your third house, this could just be saying you had to speak up for yourself in some way as well. That's certainly a possibility. And trying to think of what else. Sometimes the Emperor could also represent, an authority figure in general. So maybe a controlling boss, for example, maybe a parent. So quite a few ways that could play out, but it looks like whatever way it turned out, it looked like he did well in that regard. In the present position, we have the Three of Pentacles, and this is actually a Capricorn card. It represents the middle 10 degrees of Capricorn, so this is actually the exact energy that we would be in as January starts. So it's fitting that this card is right in that position. But generally speaking, what this points to, astrology aside, is, to me, it represents building something stable, long-lasting, and something that you're pleased with, I view it as like a combination of Saturn energy, which lends that stability and something you build that has, that'll be long-lasting, and then a little bit of Venus influence in there, which helps beautify it, makes it aesthetically pleasing. So, working on something that you're passionate about, most likely. That's the main vibe that I'm getting with that. And it's definitely, like I said, a good time to do it as well. I feel like everyone, you guys especially with the Mars energy, but everyone as a collective, we felt like we came out of one Mercury retrograde, dealt with the Mars retrograde, then we came out of that, went into a Venus retrograde, and it felt like we came out of that, went right into a Mercury retrograde. So, while those aren't too uncommon of retrogrades in general, it is kind of weird to have them all stacked like that, just where it feels like you barely get out of one fog and you're into another. So, a lot of people could have just felt held up in a lot of areas, and I think your title for your reading last month was Breathe, too, and I think that was your Oracle card, so, might have just been a timing thing where it's like, all right, maybe you were held up, needed that dust to settle a bit, and now you're able to move forward a bit this month. In the near future position, we have the Eight of Wands. So this certainly represents a theme of, things just picking up for you, picking up in speed. This could be multiple projects you're taking on, multiple messages being exchanged, just an overall increase in communication. Would not be at all surprising because, again, like we said, Mars will be going into Aries, which is your third house of communication, so that would definitely give you that energy there. And it's not just a one-sided thing to say that, you're always going to be the one initiating these conversations or short-distance travel or whatnot. It could just be a two-way street, When Mars is there, it's just that area is energized. So it's not just you who has the energy there. It'd be everyone who you deal with. Could be your neighbors, cousins, for example. And like I said, it could represent short-distance travel, too. So maybe you guys are going to be bouncing around a bit. Like maybe if this is some project you're working on, maybe you're going to be going around and selling it in different areas and whatnot. So that's how that could be playing out. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the World, and we have the Two of Wands. So speaking of the Aries energy again and Mars, this is actually the first 10 degrees of Aries for me. So that's exactly where Mars will be for about half the month in January, I would say. So it could just be pointing to that energy again with communication. The World to me represents completion. I sometimes view this as the North Node card as well. And right now the North Node will be in your 6th house. I moved into Cancer, I think it was last November, I think it was actually. And it's going to be there for about 18 months, give or take a little bit. And that's where the eclipses are going to be moving to as well. You guys have been dealing with the eclipses on the Leo and Aquarius axis for the past 18 months. And there's actually one more in Leo at 0 degrees Leo as soon as the sun gets into your sign. So that could be saying that could be what this is pointing to, saying that those karmic lessons there that you guys have been dealing with those eclipses in Aquarius and Leo are finally going to be over. That's the final one that gets those karmic lessons out of the way, and this represents a completion of that cycle. And then it moves on to your 12th house, Capricorn is where the South Node will be. 6th house is where your North Node will be. So this could represent starting new daily routines. You definitely have the energy to do so as well. Looking towards starting new daily routines. Could be changes to your work life, for example. There's a couple ways that it could play out. And usually they'd be beneficial, especially with the North Node in that house. And yeah, that's the main vibe that I'm getting with that, actually. That there's some shifts going on for you in that area of life. And I mean, that's almost a generic thing for most people because you feel like that sounds like people setting New Year's resolutions in a way, right? But you would definitely have support astrologically for those changes, at least in that area of life. So there's that. All right, and then in the position of the environment's influence on the situation, you have the Ace of Pentacles. So again, going back to if there's some type of new project you're starting, and maybe it's something that you're selling, for example. This could be an offer for someone to partner up with you or to pick up what you're selling. But what I say with the Ace is usually it's more on the idea stage rather than something tangible that you can count on. So someone might say, oh, we're interested in XYZ, right? So they might not give you a tangible offer right away. but they'll let you know that they're considering it, and maybe they want to see more from you, right? If there's something you're selling, hey, could you guys come by and do a demo of what this is, right? Or, okay, if we needed X amount of this product, would you be able to supply it for us, right? So it could just be more of a discussion, negotiation phase in that regard. To me, it would be more like the page would represent more of an actual physical offer, whereas the ace is just it's more in the idea stage. So it could be something that's definitely on the table and will turn out to be tangible, but it's just that, there might be a time delay. So they might say to you, hey, we're interested in this, but, we want to order them for April, right? Or if you do some kind of public speaking or you do some kind of healing work, they might say to you, hey, we want you to do a workshop for us in March. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, you hear about it now, but, you won't have the tangible reward for it until, a couple months down the line. That's primarily what I'm seeing there. And I mean, like I said, you did have that Mars energy going through your second house, so it is possible that there were more tangible things put in place, but it's getting the vibe more that, there will be an offer made or already has been, but that, okay, it's on the table, but it's not firm yet or not going to be immediately offered. It might be a little bit further down the line. All right, in the hopes or fears position, we have 2 cards, and we have the 9 of Cups and the Page of Wands. So these 2 cards together, what this could be saying on a more simple basis, could just be saying that you're hoping to do some traveling. When I look at the Page of Wands, I usually see this as maybe foreign travel. That's a possibility. And, it's just in the hopes or fears position. I doubt that these are fears. These are pretty positive cards. So definitely going more along the lines that this is a hope of yours. So it may not necessarily tangibly play out this month, but it's definitely something you're hoping for. And it does look like there is supportive energy there, definitely. I mean, the World card can also represent traveling, definitely. So that's a possibility as well. But I feel like that's what's on your mind right now. Or maybe you want someone to see you, come visit you from a distance. That's a possibility as well. And then in the outcome position, we have the Magician. So to me, this represents the South Node primarily. It's also, to me, also a Jupiterian type energy. And so that's interesting from both angles, because if I view it as the South Node card, I could say, well, like I was saying, you guys have had the eclipses going on the Leo Aquarius axis, and the South Node was in your sign, and it recently left. And like I said, there will be that final eclipse right at 0 degrees Leo as soon as the sun gets into your sign, so that could be that final karmic clearance at that point, and that could be pointing to you successfully getting through those lessons, like we said with the World card, but that's almost the same thing, right? So if we take that to the next level, and how I said it's also Sagittarian energy to me, right now, Jupiter, which is the natural ruler of Sagittarius, is in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is your 11th house, and you guys are the natural ruler of the 11th house. So, it'll actually, I feel like there's a lot of energy there, actually. I think Mercury is still there, and trying to think what else. Eventually, Venus is going to end up there as well in January. So that area is going to be lit up for you as well. So, even though that's not your sign, it's going to be in what the house you represent for you. As an Aquarius, Sagittarius is your 11th house, and you naturally rule the 11th house as the 11th sign of the zodiac. So that can help light things up for you too. And I think that was kind of the theme with Breathe, that it was like, all right, things might, take a positive turn for you, but it was like, that just seemed like that month was just a time to rest a little bit, trust the timing, wait for things to pick up. And I mean, these signs seem to be pointing to the fact that they definitely will. And, like I said, now with the South Node in your 12th house as well, like I was saying, sometimes that could bring up things that you maybe talents and abilities that you let fall by the wayside for whatever reason. You just weren't using them for a while. And now maybe with the South Node going back into that sign, you might actually get in touch with some of those abilities again. And then since it's 12th house related, that could be where that High Priestess energy comes from for you. So overall, this looks like a really good month. I think, you guys are about the 6th reading I've done for this month, and if this isn't the best reading, maybe Gemini or Taurus also had pretty solid readings, but overall, maybe it's just because it's the freshest in my mind. This looks like a pretty good reading, so not a bad way for you guys to start your year, and, definitely when the sun comes into your sign, too. Pretty sweet birthday gift there, right? So, let's look at the Oracle card here. We have No Place Like Home. There's the artwork for it. And then the number is 50 in case that resonates with some of you for some reason. And then we'll read the actual message now for the card. See if it ties into the reading as a whole. Usually it will in some way, but sometimes it could just have a totally different message, and that's fine as long as it resonates with some of you. Alright, it says essential meanings: authenticity, coming home to yourself, feeling at home, arriving at a place where you just fit, being comfortable in your own skin. So maybe again that could be what the world energy represents there, right? The High Priestess and Empress energy both on the table as well. Those are very much energies of confidence and just feeling good about yourself, and all 3 major arcana too. So the Oracle's message says home feels safe and secure. It's a comfortable place to rest and create, a place that is known and you can call yours. This card signals that your ability to trust yourself and feel at home in your own skin is beginning to solidify as you claim your dignity and integrity, aspects of yourself no one could take away from you. You know who you are. You hold your head high, yet with neither pride nor humility. Instead, you stand as the observer, seeing through the eyes of your soul. This puts you in a position of power and strength. Authenticity is your home. You are safe here in the house of your spirit and spirit. Okay. So, to me, that part where it said, instead you stand as the observer, seeing through the eyes of your soul, that definitely sounds like the High Priestess energy as well. So that could just be where you're at right now, you're just in your zone. So, not a bad message there. If this resonated for you as a relationship spread, and honestly, I really didn't get much of a vibe of that at all. So, sorry if that's what you were hoping for, but we'll see if this has anything for you. It says, lovers, friends, and companion animals are at home in your life right now. You're in sync and full of love, and you can be secure in the knowledge that it is reciprocated. Relationships elicit a sense of emotional safety, comfort, and the best aspects of familiarity now. Be home in this relationship. Together you add to the love of the world. Alright, so like I said, I didn't get much of a relationship vibe there. I mean, we can say the 3 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles, and maybe even the 6 of Pentacles, that can point to balance and building something stable. And maybe that's where the Ace of Pentacles is coming from, Someone else is putting in more of an effort, but, like I said, for some reason I didn't get much of a relationship vibe. So sorry for you guys if you did want more of that type of a spread. Prosperity message says, when you act in an authentic way, you command the world to reflect back to you exactly what is in your highest good. Your business choices, the investments you make, and the creative projects you immerse yourself in are powerfully on point. Why? Because when you are fully yourself, radically accepting everything in your journey to date, both successes and failures, you will see the divinity in all things. Abundance is a natural progression when you experience this kind of authenticity. So that's what's up, right? I mean, that could be what the 10 of Pentacles is saying there, even though it is in the challenge position. Because you have the 6 of Pentacles, 3 of Pentacles, like I said, the World card with the 2 of Wands underneath that. Those to me all point to stability, being energized, forward movement. Obviously the Magician in the outcome. The Justice card at the bottom of the deck, saying that, that could be pointing to karmic justice, saying that if you paid your dues, maybe you weren't getting tangible results, but, the universe sees what you do and what you don't do, right? So maybe this is where those things start to come out in your favor. All right, so that's it for that. And now another thing that I'm starting this month is I have another Oracle deck. It's the Spirit Animal Oracle. And the card you got from that deck is White Raven Spirit. It says trust in the magic. There is the artwork for it there. And the number for this one is 66, in case that has any significance for some of you. So we'll look at this one next. I mean, even just that caption alone, trust in the magic, you know, that points to the magician right there too, right? So we'll see what the message in the book says, though. All right. It says, nothing in the universe is random, for the intricate web of co-creation weaves together all events and has done so since the beginning of time. Coincidences have meaning, and White Raven Spirit appears to remind you to pay attention to these synchronicities so that you might recognize patterns. Even the winds dance in a pattern, participating in the magic of Spirit's plan for all. Align with the highest good and intentions, and you will come to see that White Raven is guiding you, an ally to you and a messenger from Spirit. Align with the light, and you will start to recognize that all is working together harmoniously in ways the eye can't always see and the mind can't always comprehend. The universe is conspiring on your behalf right now, drawing you to the light and bringing you the magic and miracles that are your birthright. Now is the time to trust in the magic of the world that is everywhere and in all things. Pay attention to how things come together as if by magic, and you will see the hand of Great Spirit arranging things in your favor. So, I mean, definitely can't knock that, right? So, you know, if we just want to plug that back into the spread, even though it could stand as its own message, like I said, the Magician card there definitely points to that. And then maybe that's what that Ace of Pentacles is too. You know, maybe it's an offer you've been waiting for that you weren't sure was going to materialize, and now maybe it does, you know. With that represented like it's coming out from the clouds, that could represent an offer that seems to come out of the blue that you've been waiting on, but weren't sure it was going to come your way. So that's pretty cool too. And the last thing that I have for this month is pulled a Mudra card for you guys. So the Mudra that you got was their Nirvana Mudra, and the number there is 44. This is the actual Mudra itself. Basically, these are, if for those of you who don't know, these are just basically like meditative poses you can do with your hands. Usually you have to hold them for at least 5 minutes or so. You can hold them for up to half an hour, maybe even longer. But, you know, just something that you could do to help relax your mind. And usually, depending on the specific pose, it'll help you with different things. Fitting that the caption on the side here says awakening, and you know, with the high priestess energy there, that certainly seems to support that. So what I'll do is I'll try to get this focused for you guys if you want to take a screenshot and read about what it says, and then I'll also put the name of it in the description in case you guys want to Google about it if it seems like it would resonate with you. And you know, maybe even on YouTube they might have videos about it as well. So yeah, let me see if I can get this focused. All right, I'll hold that part up first. If you want to take a screenshot, and then I'll move up to the rest of the message as well. All right, so as far as the benefits, it says weakens ego grasping, reduces selfish desire for personal gain from spiritual practice, awakens the heart of compassion, serves as a ritual gesture to conclude any practice, as well as a simple way to dedicate the merit. So I really didn't get any ego vibe from you guys at all from this spread, but I mean, you know, still overall, like I said, if you feel it resonates with you, I will put the name of it in the description so you guys could look up a little bit more on it if you wanted to try it out. And if not, that's fine. But let me know what you guys think of that. And we'll wrap up there. Like I said, happy birthday to those of you who celebrate in January. And if you guys want a personal reading with me, you could check out the About section of the channel for more info on that. And you can check out the Instagram page where we have a little bit more fun with tarot and astrology there. But I'll see you guys next month. All right. Bye.